Hello, welcome to September 29th, 2022. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation video. This is something that I do every morning as an exercise to remember my life objectives and principles, those that I've collected over the years and codified into what I call the Good Life, which is a chapter in my book, Going Alone. I do this to remember these, to work on them, tinker with them, improve them, and also to see how I did applying those to yesterday and to plan for today. To also to anticipate what difficult parts might be found today and how I can ready myself for the challenges. Let's begin. First, last night and yesterday. Slept great last night. Just got up for a bio break, but other than that, very sound, very good. So I feel good as a result. Probably got about 7 hours of sleep. In my age, so I'm closing on 60. That's probably enough these days. Yesterday was a really strong, solid day of work. I should have been more exhausted, but I didn't. Things went really well. I'm in a really difficult, challenging phase of my projects at work, but I think I'm holding up the best I can. I'm holding up well, actually. Had a really good philosophic conversation with a coworker yesterday in person. Something about those in-person meetings that brings that out. Brings out philosophy with certain people, right, that are interested in such things. But we all kind of wind up talking about life in the end. Let's do the Good Life. My 7 objectives are: 1, to always be ready to die, to have my life affairs in order, my connections, my human connections in good, sound, stable condition, and then my life's work in a ready state of basically as complete as possible. And I believe all 3 of those things are good to go. I can die today and without a backwards glance. 2, to make good and effective use of my time. Not just to be living well in the day, not just to be climbing the mountain, so to speak, but to be seeing effective ends of that effort. The world is becoming better as a result, and my objectives are being met. I'm very fortunate that I work, my day job is working in the public sector. I get to actually see overt, objective improvements of the well-being of my community by virtue of the projects that I run. Pardon me. Number 3 is the development and maintenance of good and sound life principles. This is exactly what I'm working on now, and I'm going to add a little bit to one of my principles this morning. So that's part of what that is tinkering with it, finding bits that I can add. And I do that every morning by this exercise. Next is to cultivate good emotional reactions, to be a man who reacts well to whatever happens in life, to not fly off the handle or get unduly upset, but to be good and solid and stable. That doesn't sound right, good and solid and stable. That's not what I mean. To have my hand on the controls, to not let my vehicle, this apparatus, this engine up here, get out of control. It's like a driver on a big 18-wheeler going down the highway, right? He's making good and effective use of the operating time of that big truck, keeping it straight and narrow on the road, making sure it's a good steady speed, not too fast, not too slow, in good safety zone, fuel efficiency is high, attendance is good, body is as fit as can be, lightly stimulated or maybe heavily with coughing, producing good ends for the impulses. Yeah. Next is to to perform good actions, just to do good things throughout the day. Big things, little things, medium-sized things too. Next is to recognize my true limits and my true opportunity. This is a very stoic part of my Good Life Creed, my philosophy, if you like. This is where we apply apathy to the things that are outside of our control. This is probably the main thrust of how I go through the day, is looking at things that are within my control, and when they are within my control, then to make decisions, use maturity to make decisions that will best yield my moral purpose, as Socrates would say, or my moral purpose is the improvement of the well-being of thinking creatures. There, I like the way that flowed. Okay, kind of connected in some of the principles there, namely maturity, and the sub-principle of fortitude, wisdom, and then the principle of temperance, of course. Nice. Okay, next after that is, the last one, is to do just one thing at a time, and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. Those are my 7. Those are the things I'm striving for in life. And I think at this point, I'm largely achieving them day by day. Not perfectly, but I've got it down to a routine, so to speak. It wasn't easy getting there. It took 4 years of constant effort to refine the thinking and to tune the mind and to tune the principles so that they're readily at my disposal at all times. Don't have to search for them. I don't have to remember them. Apathy, fortitude, whatever it is, it's there. Okay, now my 32 principles. Number 1 is war. To always be fighting against propositions of truth, especially those that I have already onboarded. I want to keep a close eye on them. I don't want to take things for granted, because I may encounter more facts, or I may become more mature and learn things that will render previously accepted truth to be incorrect or utter nonsense. So I want to be on top of that. 2 is the principle called reason, and the 3 sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, doubt. Fourth part, integrity, right? Reason, humiliation. Reason means that to be a reasonable man means I need to be honest with myself and others, look at things from as many perspectives as I can so that I have an objective understanding. Doubt, be a skeptic of what I'm seeing. Don't be too readily accept things. And humiliation, to be welcome the fact to feel a little touch of humiliation when somebody shows me that I'm wrong, or some facts demonstrate that to be the case. Okay, next is the homunculus. I don't think that a soul exists in any of us. I think we're just this biological apparatus animated by the motive force of our biology. And this consciousness is just an emergent quality of, it's what happens when you have a lot of thinking going on. It kind of emerges out of that. And I believe that my consciousness will wink out utterly upon death, never to come back. So the homunculus is like a little man trapped in my head, just behind my skull. You can feel it right up here, right back better a little bit. Don't you feel it too? Little man or a little woman in there. It's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to, like a candle going out, like the music stopping, just done. And very soon. There's no time to wait, or very little. And it really doesn't matter whether you go out now or later. Don't fear death. Easy for me to say now, right? Let's see what happens when I'm tested. I know. Okay, next is the Anchorhold. This is a suggestion that not only do we not have a soul, and instead we have a consciousness, which we all knew already anyway, at least those of us who are conscious, the consciousness is trapped alone, like a man on an island rock sticking out of the sea, and others are on their rocks, and you can't swim, you can't cross the sea, it's too cold, deep, and dangerous. So each of us are trapped. We're all ultimately living and one day dying alone in solitude. even if our loved ones surround us on our deathbed, holding our hands and whispering loving words into our ears, we are dying alone. We all die alone. Next is purpose. No. Anchorhold, Homunculus, Anchorhold, Home of Good and Evil. I think that's next. Yeah. Right and wrong don't exist out there in the stars. They don't exist in the mind of some god. There's no 10 Commandments anywhere except what human beings have chiseled onto slabs of granite to put in front of a courthouse and to be challenged. Right and wrong are simply opinions that we have in our minds. We form them by our best efforts of reason. And then communicate and share these with others. And there are several sub-principles. These are, no, there are no sub-principles here. That's just what it is. Right and wrong are just opinions. They're not absolutes. They don't pervade the universe. There's no right or wrong orbiting Pluto. Next is atomic principle. No, next is purpose. That's right. My 3 purpose in life, there's 3 of them, is biology. I call it biology. It's a silly name. I should come up with something better. It just refers to the seeming, I call it that by virtue of the fact that it seems to be a mandate within us. It's the only objective purpose that I can think of that we have, we're born with practically, which is to get to maturity, find a mate, create a home, make children, raise them to maturity, see them off on their way, and then die and get the hell out of the way, as I like to say. That's 1, biology. Virtue, this is a purpose that I've decided for myself, which is I want to be a virtuous human being working towards the improvement of the well-being of others, especially others who can suffer. I could do better at this. 3 is whatever purpose I endeavor to take. And my purpose is to share the story of going alone and the resulting good life creed. The exact same thing I'm talking right now. And this video is, so far, is my best effort to do this. This is how I share it, making one of these videos every day. I should try to find a better way to share the good life creed because it works. It really works. It's good. I've had amazing results, if I do say so myself. Okay, next is atomic principle. Everything is made of bits and pieces falling to pieces. Compounds, molecules, atoms. So too you and me, soon to fall to pieces. Then the principle of nature. Everything in the universe and everyone have some particular nature, and it's good to recognize what that is so that we can live in a better accord with how things really are. And then maturity. Maturity has 3 sub-principles: wisdom, fortitude, and integrity. Wisdom, because wisdom is the benefit of the experiences that we have, that we gain understanding. Fortitude is the strength that we need to abide that understanding and to do better in the future, not to make the same mistakes more than once. And then integrity is a state that we arrive at when our actions are in accord with our values. I like the way that flows. Next comes the social principle. We're social creatures. We need each other. And then public speaking. A suggestion to be very careful about what I say and what I write. To be public speaking suggests that you should use the best words possible. Have a good vocabulary, a rich vocabulary, but pull out just the right ones to communicate my meaning in a way that is clear and understandable. Clear, accurate, and understandable. Then the next sub-principle is best words, eloquence. Although I don't like the way that lays out. I better take a look at it. I put eloquence in recently, and it doesn't quite, it belongs elsewhere because it's the culmination of all the other sub-principles. Public speaking says, best words, prudence. Prudence is like a verb in this case. It's an active thing of it's the thing of aligning while we're in the moment our what we're saying in this case with our values. Whereas integrity is the result. It's a state. Prudence is more of a verb. It's an activity. So public speaking suggests we need to pick the best words possible. Exercise prudence as we're thinking. It's a difficult thing to do. It's like rubbing your tummy and tapping your head at the same time to evaluate what you're saying at the same time that you're saying it. And then eloquence, there's eloquence. It's to strive to speak well, to be a good speaker, so that you can have a seat at the Toastmasters. Terrible. And then the last two are negative things. Avoid spreading rumors and avoid gossip, which these are sins in my book. The next is 5 that go together. Temperance. That which life will not go well. Temperance. Life will not go well. The horror show. That which must be borne in the feast of woeful. Temperance is just our ability to control our actions, our consumption. Just the right amount of everything, not too much. And the sub-principles are suffering and simplicity, because we suffer when we deny ourselves what we want, when we're trying to be temperate. And simplicity, because by living a simple life, we are by definition living a temperate life, right? Temperate life. The next comes that which must go well. Had a long conversation with a coworker yesterday on this one. Life won't go well. Bad things are going to happen throughout the day, and it's good to rehearse that, to prepare ourselves. Like, for example, today, it's quite possible that I have some meetings. I may not have my agendas right, and I may be blindsided by things. It's quite possible I've got a really keen partner in one of my projects. They may point out some stuff that I'm missing in my projects. I need to be ready for that, and to be be ready to accept the humiliation as a chance of having missed the point, as an opportunity to improve. Yes, that's right. What else could happen today? I'm working from home. I could run out of time. I know I'm running the clock long today. My dogs need to go for their walk. I could run out of time and start work a little bit late. That won't happen. But you go on and on. I don't let that happen. The next principle is the horror show, but it's good to have it in mind. The next is the horror show. Life can go so poorly sometimes as to be horrifying in its results. Death by cancer, being burned up in a fiery auto accident, whatever the case may be. I always turn to these awful things. Sometimes if I have the strength, I'll throw one out there, but I don't have that strength today. That which must be borne, carried, borne, be with B-O-R-N-E. We have to carry the horror show and the fact that life won't go well. The feast of woeful is all the waste and byproduct of our intemperate living. When we get upset and rail at the world and we soil others and hurt others in the process, I don't do that anymore, and I recommend others don't do it as well. Keep the rage within. Find other ways to dissipate it. Don't hurt others by your own upset. The next one, twofer together, the principle of distraction and agency in the great indifference. Distraction is what we do so that we don't have to see that the universe doesn't seem to contain any God or gods. So we keep ourselves busy with our work and our families and our hobbies and our sports and our music and our church and our God. La 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 la. I'll all be taken care of. I don't think so. I'd rather face that fact. Next is the best seat in the house, to be all right with who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing right here, right now, right where. Now I've got a few to go together. Is it 3? Yeah. The restless man, the path of wildness, and the great life adventure. The restless man is that person that we are that wants something else, wants to break out of this and go to somewhere else. And when you do break out of it, you step on what I call the path of wildness, which is the trail that leads to the result of your endeavor, a great life adventure. And I really recommend it at a young age if you are so inclined. If you are a restless man or woman, the longer you wait, the harder it gets to do. The next is the risk of avoiding risk. The deep and the surface level risks of life are, I'm going to add a sub-principle here. The surface level risks of life are getting an education, starting a career, finding someone to spend your life with, having a family, and saving for retirement. The deep risk is the risk of not spending some time to find yourself. I'm going to add a sub-principle here. Will be called, what it will be called? Oh, risk management. This is the first time I've talked about this, so that's what I'll have to title this, is risk management. Risk management suggests that it's tough when you don't know the route to work and you get lost along the way, or you don't know how to do a particular thing, or you're the new person on the job, or whatever the case may be, and you have to make mistakes and fumble along the way, or you move into a house and all the hassle of moving in and getting in the utilities sorted and all that stuff. Who wants to do all of that? Some people don't. And what they do is at an early age, they decide, okay, I'm not going to do all that stuff. I'm going to, one time we'll go to school one time. I'll get a job one time. I'll buy one really good house, the house that I want the first time. I'll marry that guy or gal that I like, and we'll start a family. And I'll do that for 35 years. And then I'll get all that out. I can retire and die in that house that I created. This is a form of risk management. This creates a circumstance where you can have all kinds of things that you are familiar with, routines that you build, pathways. Life becomes a rote life. You don't even have to think about it anymore, and there's not much inconvenience of mistake and little chance to be called out as wrong or in error in any way, because you've already got it all figured out. That's all right for some. For a lot of us, that's not all right at all. And I think it's actually quite dangerous. And I think personally, it is my own opinion, it's not a very interesting use of this one life that we get. So in a way, you can become trapped. Some people, when they get to that advanced stage, they're fine with it. They're like, this is great. Best season of my life ever. I've got everything that I've ever wanted. It's the stuff I've had all my life. I've got all these routines I can do. They love it. Others, especially those that were tempted by adventure early in life, and those who didn't do it, find themselves trapped. Maybe they've got a list this long of honeydews to do after they retire. But when those last one is scratched off the list, what next? You've trained yourself too well. Your feet only will follow the paths that you've created. All the kids were raised here. Everything, all of our routines here, all of our memories are here. And you've got a partner that thinks the same. So even if you've got other ideas, it's not likely they are going to want to go along with that. What about that? In a way, you're stuck. That's why I call it a risk. I don't have a good answer for that. I don't know how to get out of that. The only thing I can think is to avoid that early on. So, heavy-duty warning: if you're a restless man or a restless woman, do something about it while you still have a chance. Do something about it in your 20s. Don't get to 30 without a great life adventure in your belt. Highly recommend it. Okay, next one is sin and damnation. There are 7 sins in my worldview. These are falsity, credulity, faith, superstition, dogma, authority, and 8. Actually, let's call it 8. And rumor and gossip. I added 1. Indulge in any of these things, and you're not going to hell, but you're going to be damned in the here and now for winding up the consequences, which you may be oblivious to. We are sometimes oblivious to the consequences of our fallacious beliefs, but nevertheless, you're operating against a view of the world that is probably not correct, as are not we all, who has perfect knowledge. But still, I don't want to do that. And that's what the sin is in the here and now. It's a sin against, making the best life we can according to my perspective of what's important. Because the importance is not the comfort to me. The importance is the accuracy and the what's the word? The efficacy, I think, of my thinking and my beliefs. There you go. The efficacy of my beliefs. I think that's a good word to describe it. Good phrase. Okay, sin and damnation. Next is complete oblivion. When we die, that's the end. No final reunion. We're not going to see our loved ones again after death. We're going to have no chance to reconcile, no final reconciliation, and there'll be no final justice because there's apparently no God, and there'll be no afterlife for there to be judgment or punishment in, or reward even. Next is, after complete oblivion is, what is next? I think we're getting there. Bullseye aim, is that next? No, the season of philosophy. Just a time to write down whatever it comes, whatever the muse whispers into your, the muse isn't real, it's just your mind. But have a pen and paper ready to do that when the time comes. You'll be glad you did. Okay, we're at the end here. The uphill climb. Up every day is going to be a climb a little farther up, higher into the mountains, with a better view than the day before. Oh, by the way, you can find all this stuff in my book, Going Alone, available on Amazon or at goingalone.org if you want a signed copy. Uphill climb. Arena and utility. Life is this arena. No, the bullseye aim. We fire for the mark, trying to hit the bullseye, but we usually miss by some degree. I should do it over here. Bam. There we go. Bullseye. Bam. But we usually miss. Sometimes we miss the board altogether. Such is life. Then the uphill climb. I did already. Uphill climb. Bullseye aim. I put the book away now. I can't remember. Season of philosophy. Uphill climb. Bullseye aim. Oh, arena and utility. We have to keep all of our principles around, like utilities, like tools that we can use for our better living. The dogs want to go. I better finish up. Then that's. He's going to lay down again. Then the principle of nothing is enough. A suggestion beyond temperance towards not relying on things for our well-being. I like the way that sounds. Better than before. Before I was saying towards abstinence, but no, not relying on things for our well-being. So you got to keep the pen handy. Not relying. Well, not just write it in the book. Let's see, that was for. Okay, and then the last one, the principle of fun. A reminder to have a good time today. And then to look forward to fun times tomorrow. And to remember the good times of the past. So today, what am I going to have fun to do today? Well, I'm going to enjoy after this. I always enjoy doing this. This is fun. Then I'm going to enjoy reading my Bible. I love reading the Bible. Then I'm going to enjoy walking the dogs. Then I'm going to enjoy getting ready for work, sitting at my desk, firing everything up, and beginning my meetings throughout the day. Today I'm also going to, during my lunch break, look for a mover, maybe schedule a mover. And I'm going to enjoy moments with my wife. And in the evening I'm going to enjoy a nice dinner and some time with Yumiko before I go to bed. And a good long walkie with the dogs. Although the flies are a bit of an annoyance. But it's the nature of summer in the desert. No, plan for the day. Otherwise, I think I just said it, right? I think I just said it. I covered everything. Thanks for joining me. Well, I was going to say something different as a closing thing, but I forgot what it was. Too bad I didn't write it down yesterday. It was clever, if I do say so myself. I did. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.